Tonight, I'll be home for Christmas. I hope. Tumultuous weather across the country is causing headaches for holiday travelers. And patrolling by plane, Regina police have a new way to track down bad guys. Plus, an artist who has delighted Saskatoon with his ice sculptures for decades looks to finally hang up his chisel.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It's Thursday, December 22nd. CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Sam is away tonight. Anyone trying to get in or out of Saskatchewan in time for Christmas is on edge tonight. Many parts of Canada are facing the prospect of freezing rain, snow, and high winds as we head into the holiday weekend. Meteorologists say the storm will affect 2/3 of the country. Vancouver is looking at more snow after a storm earlier this week paralyzed the city's airport.
Our flight delayed from Vancouver to Toronto, so we missed our connecting flight to St. Lucia.
And we can't get a flight home, even if we wanted to cancel our trip.
Snowplows are ready for when the storm hits Toronto. In Ottawa, the weather has already forced the cancellation of a hockey game between the Senators and Detroit Red Wings tomorrow. Extreme cold is hitting every corner of Alberta and parts of the Northwest Territories and Saskatchewan. The storm is also expected to affect all of the Atlantic region this weekend. Air travelers across the country are already seeing delays caused by the snow here and in the United States, where connecting flights are coming from. At Canada's biggest airport, they're getting ready for a hectic weekend.
We're still seeing some ripple effect here at Pearson from the weather event that was in Vancouver. So we expect that could last through the weekend.
Gas advises air travelers to make sure they have all of their necessities in their carry-on bags, items such as medication and diapers. Saskatchewan has been no stranger to extreme weather this entire year. From blinding blizzards to terrifying tornadoes, Mother Nature kept us on our toes in 2022. Our weather specialist Ethan Williams breaks down the year in weather and tells us what we can expect in 2023.
Cold and snowy. That's how 2022 kicked off, just like every winter in Saskatchewan. The only difference? It lasted well into spring. Southeastern Saskatchewan was battered by repeat snowstorms in April. One in particular brought strong winds and up to 50 centimeters of snow around Moosomin.
Well, last year we had nothing. We were actually golfing today. It's about 3 feet of snow, and it's heavy and it's kind of wet. It's not nice.
But the moisture was needed. It ended prolonged drought on the eastern side of the province, and the western side got some relief too. Then some places got too much too fast. 75 millimeters of rain fell in just a few hours in Saskatoon in June, and nearly 100 millimeters fell in the Battlefords, shattering a single-day rainfall record. But for some, it meant flooded basements.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that's a tornado!
And all that moisture spawned thunderstorms and tornadoes. 2022 was unlike the last 2 years, where dry, smoky air kept storms away. 25 tornadoes touched down this year, the most since 2012, but not much above the average. One tornado did considerable damage near Foam Lake. Chris and Ruth Gislason estimated their daughter's farm received millions of dollars worth of damage.
Tornado started to happen about a mile straight west of the yard here, and we followed it when it hit the yard and then hit our bin yard.
And after the storms came the heat. Grasshoppers invaded some fields in south and central Saskatchewan as a result, stripping everything in their path. Although overall, Saskatchewan farmers reported a much better harvest than the year before. September saw around 70 temperature records broken province-wide, and La Ronge saw its warmest and driest October on record. It was all thanks to a large upper atmosphere pattern, and it stayed put for a long time. And the year is now ending in a fierce cold snap, and there's likely more of this in store. This winter is the third in a La Nina pattern, where cooler ocean temperatures make the prairies snowier and colder. It's very rare for La Nina to linger this long, but the forecasters at Environment Canada say it could end soon.
There are indications already that it's weakening. The sea surface temperatures are coming up. It is forecast to become neutral through the spring and into the summer.
But with Saskatchewan's ever-changing weather and climate change pushing the envelope on extremes, we can expect more volatile weather in 2023. Ethan Williams, CBC News, Regina.
This cold snap is driving people who face homelessness to desperately seek shelter. The Saskatoon Tribal Council says its new emergency wellness center has been operating at max capacity. The new facility opened 3 weeks ago in the southwest neighborhood of Fairhaven. Last night, the center's 106 emergency beds were full. 18 people slept on cots in the lobby. Chief Mark Arcand says no one is being turned away. He invited the media to the facility today for an update.
We haven't had a major incident yet, knock on wood, and that's what we're hoping to prevent. But there has been ambulance calls, there has been police calls, and we acknowledge that. But it's to make sure that people are being held accountable. So there's still no opportunity for individuals to bring in drugs into their beds or weapons. All those are confiscated. So if we collect, let's say, knives, for example, which we have, we call SPS and they come and pick those up immediately. So it's all about safety. And if people don't want to follow the rules, they have to leave. It's that simple.
Arcand also wanted to extend a thank you for all of the donations that have been pouring in. The SDC put out a call for winter clothing and gifts to give to people who use the shelter. Arcand says the support from Saskatoon and surrounding communities has been overwhelming. A man is dead after a fire at a Saskatoon motel this morning. The flames were contained to one unit of Thrift Lodge. Firefighters and police rushed to the 1800 block of Idlewild Drive North just before 6 a.m. They found a suite up in flames and a dead man inside. Investigators have already determined the fire was not criminal and the death wasn't suspicious. They won't be releasing the name of the deceased. The cause of the fire continues to be investigated. Two teens who fatally shot this Saskatoon man in April pleaded guilty today for their role in his death. Shadane Favel was killed during a robbery in a back alley near St. Paul's Hospital. The teen who shot Favel was 13 years old at the time. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 5.5 years. The second teen, who was 14, pleaded guilty to manslaughter. He was sentenced to 2.5 years. Neither teen can be named because of their ages. The Regina Police Service has a new tool in its arsenal, a plane. Chief Evan Bray talked about that and what else the police focused on this year when he sat down with the CBC's Adam Hunter.
Coming at you at the main intersection, lead vehicle.
Regina City Police are now patrolling from above with a new plane, much like the Saskatoon Police have for years. Last year, the service secured funding from the city and province to purchase the aircraft for $1.6 million. It's been operational since the fall, and Chief Evan Bray says it's already paying dividends.
So having the plane there allows us, and we had a recent example of this, where the suspects were able to be watched drive to a location, get out of the vehicle, go into a house, and our officers are then able to, through SWAT or just patrol officers, take that person safely into custody. So it allows for an effective arrest, usually very expedient.
The plane wasn't in the air yet back in September when the Regina Police Service became involved in the manhunt for Miles and Damian Sanderson. On September 4th, police said they had information the two were spotted in the city. An emergency alert went out for the city hours before more than 30,000 people descended on Mosaic Stadium for the Labor Day Classic. A day later, Damian Sanderson was found dead on James Smith Cree Nation. Miles Sanderson was arrested by RCMP on September 8th near Rossnern. Bray still doesn't know whether Miles Sanderson was ever in Regina. The investigation is now in the hands of the RCMP.
So the RCMP, as the inquest happens and more information comes out, I think we'll have a better idea then of what his timeline looked like. We operated under the impression that he was in the city. We had very reliable information that he was. As we know, he was not located in the city. So if he was here, it was for a short period of time.
Overdoses kept police busy in 2022, although not as busy as in 2021 when there were 194 overdose deaths in Regina.
We are still seeing fentanyl as the driving factor behind the tragic health consequences to overdoses in our community. Drugs have taken on a different look over the last couple of years. Methamphetamines were very much the prevalent drug in 17, 18, 19. It became tough to get once COVID hit. That supply chain was limited and fentanyl was much easier to get. And the consequences tend to be less focused on crime and more focused on health.
Addictions and mental health issues take up a lot of police time. That's why Bray is hoping for more funding for PACT, a team which pairs officers with mental health professionals. Right now, PACT doesn't operate 24/7, but Bray says more money would allow for that to happen. Adam Hunter, CBC News, Regina.
The city of Regina is considering swapping cobblestones for cars on Scarth Street. The pedestrian mall downtown has been closed to vehicles for nearly half a century. Right now, 12th Avenue and 11th Avenue are connected by a cobblestone street. Some business owners say there hasn't been much pedestrian traffic in recent years. The city is hiring a consultant to explore how to inject new life into the strip. Regina's mayor says she supports opening Scarth Street to vehicles in a controlled way.
Like on a day like today, it could be open for very slow traffic to drive through and drop folks off. Just opening up our options where we can keep it pedestrian when we want a pedestrian, but allow for very slow traffic to drive through when the conditions are not favorable to foot traffic.
Regina's Downtown Business Improvement District also supports opening the area to vehicle traffic, at least part of the time. The organization says other cities like Halifax have done that successfully, and it says this is a good time to start this conversation, as sewer lines in the area need replacement. Santa Claus visited Saskatchewan early this year to make a special visit to Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. St. Nick handed out Christmas presents to patients and listened to gift requests. The Saskatoon Hospital organizes a bunch of activities for kids and families under their care over the holidays. They also decorated gingerbread houses and made ornaments. Just 3 more sleeps until Santa makes his world tour. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Do you hear what I hear? Well, go tell it on the mountain, because Christmas carols bring joy to the world. We asked some Saskatchewan shoppers what their favorite carol is, and at the risk of me breaking into song, let's hear what they had to say.
I don't want a lot for Christmas.
Come with us as we ask people what their favorite Christmas song is. Let's go.
Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas.
Jingle Bells.
Why do you like Jingle Bells?
Because it reminds me of when I was a kid.
Can you sing a line of Jingle Bells?
Oh, why not? It's Christmas, right? Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Hey!
All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. Chase everybody away if I sing.
That's okay.
For Christmas is you.
Santa baby. Santa baby.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas.
My favorite Christmas song is Hark Are the Bells. Hark are the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. It's so cheerful and positive, and when somebody who can sing it well sings it, they have the most beautiful sound of the bells in their voice, you know. Ding dong, ding dong.
All I Want for Christmas would be my favorite Christmas song.
Who's that by Mariah Carey?
I think so, yeah, Mariah Carey.
Oh, I like 12 Days of Christmas.
Can you sing a line from that?
Like a partridge in a pear tree.
Favorite Christmas song? Oh, geez.
Or a song that makes it feel like this the holidays.
Jingle bells. Jingle bells, Batman smells. That's the only one I know.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. 22 model clear out is on now.
Weather specialist Ethan Williams joins us now. And before we get into the forecast, I need to know, do you have a favorite Christmas carol, Ethan?
I'm going to go with I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, Natasha, because I think a lot of people are dreaming of a white Christmas. And actually, we have the stats to show that we have a pretty good chance of seeing a white Christmas, according to the last 65 years of data or so. Around Regina and Saskatoon, it's around 90%. Now, even though we have had a pretty good chance of seeing white Christmases, we've had a few green Christmases in there too. And then there's something else called a perfect Christmas. So that's where you have a white Christmas, which is 2 or more centimeters of snow on the ground by 7 a.m. Christmas morning. And then you get considerable snowfall on Christmas morning as well. Now, the stats aren't great on those, but I think this year we might just have a perfect Christmas. I'll tell you why in a second, but first, we got to start with the cold, which is where we're still lingering today. Minus 30s on the western side of the province, a little bit warmer on the eastern side as that low pressure moves toward Ontario and Quebec. And the winds are picking up as a result of that low pressure too. Close to 60 kilometers an hour in southeastern Saskatchewan, gusty really all across the south. And that is really fueling these wind chills into the minus 40s in southeastern Saskatchewan, where it's colder in the southwest. Even just a little bit of wind is making it feel still like minus 50 in Swift Current, and will likely feel that way through the night tonight. Wind also dropping visibility, especially around Estevan. Around Weyburn, travel is not recommended on highways there, and gets a little bit better as you go westward, but not by all that much. Now, winds are going to diminish through the night tonight, but we could see them pick up again tomorrow in southwestern Saskatchewan, although temperatures will be warming a bit overnight, so wind chill's not as bad. I think this 72 kilometers an hour at Maple Creek is a little bit of an algorithm issue. Won't be that bad, but they'll shift eastward through Saturday, where we're not going to see too much in the way of winds on Saturday, because we have high pressure that is moving from west to east, bringing that cold with it into eastern Saskatchewan through the day tomorrow. And then on Saturday, we're looking for a little bit of a mix of sun and cloud as things start to warm up as high pressure moves out. But that's in anticipation of this low pressure system. And this could bring quite a bit of snow to an area from the Battlefords down to Saskatoon, Regina, eastward. And if the southwest sees this system, because it is going to be warming up a bit, things could get a little bit on the messy side. And how much snow are we talking about? Well, from Christmas Eve through to the end of the day on Christmas Day, I mean, there could be some pockets looking at 15 to 20 centimeters. This might still be a little bit high, and we're still a couple of days out. But again, really along the number 11 corridor and the Highway 16 corridor, you're going to want to be careful, as it looks like wind is going to pick up on that day as well. So we could have some visibility issues on roads. Outside of that area, we're looking at less snowfall amounts. And again, as I say, in the southwest, maybe a little bit of rain too. For Regina, we see that gradual warm up as the snow moves in. And then after that system moves out on Boxing Day, things really going to start to improve, even getting close to the freezing mark for daytime highs. Saskatoon, we are also seeing that snow move in on Sunday as well, with some breezy conditions, but conditions generally overall improving. Looks like we may just be joining the rest of the country with a little bit of snow over Christmas, Natasha.
Only a weather specialist could put a statistic like that on what a white Christmas entails.
Yes, that's right. I had to. Couldn't go without it.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Stay with us. We'll be back with more after the break. A Saskatoon man has spent the better part of his life embracing winter and spreading holiday cheer. For 50 years, Don Greer has been creating ice sculptures around the city. But at the age of 70, he's nearly ready to hang up his tools. He says this season could be his last.
You never say never. You know, Tom Brady didn't stay in retirement. We'll see whatever happens. I started when I was 20 years old doing it over 50 years ago, so it's something it's been part of my life. I can't replace it with anything else really that would come close to it. I'll miss it. I really will. The very first one I started in 1971, just out of high school. I wasn't 20 years old at that time. My dad and I used to put together Christmas decorations down on Klinkskill Drive. Yeah. Dad and I would put together decorations, and one year I had built a whole bunch of blocks of snow and ice and built this wall, this castle. And we flew Santa Claus and the reindeer up over the wall of this castle, so it looked like the North Pole, but it didn't have a North Pole. So I went down in the basement and got a roll of chicken wire and stuck it all together, just like you roll it up, and there was 7 feet of pole. Put the red lights inside of it, iced it up, and that was the North Pole. So that was 1971 was the first piece I ever did. Well, this year what I was trying to produce was an image from one of my favorite Christmas songs, and that's the Royal Guardsman's Snoopy's Christmas versus the Red Baron. So I was looking at trying to build Snoopy's house with Snoopy on it, and the Red Baron's plane coming in from behind. So right now I'm just trying to finish up building Snoopy to put him on top of the doghouse out in the front yard. It's something that I had always had in mind. I've done a lot of nativity stuff and more Christmassy things, and this is not really Christmassy, but it's kind of a kid's thing. And because I live across the school from the City Park School now, I work trying to think of something the kids will like. I have finished 2 projects, one down at St. Paul's Cathedral, in which we brought back the 3 arches that I built over the last 3 years down there, put them together, put some columns between them, and then for my last piece up at Resurrection Lutheran Church, it's what makes it all worthwhile when people come and say hello and tell you how much they like the work. So that's the reward. That's when it's melted, it's gone. I have those memories of people who appreciated what I've done. That I thank everybody for coming by and seeing it, and I wish everybody all the happy Christmas and all the best in the season.
Ethan is back with another look at our forecast. And how is it looking for ice sculptures to hold up this weekend?
Yeah, I don't think there will be a problem for those staying around, Natasha, but it will be hard to go outside to carve them because extreme cold warning still in effect. Very cold in Regina by 8 a.m. with a wind chill still at -41. Wind's going to be lighter tomorrow, but temperature's really not going to budge all that much. I think we'll get to maybe around -27 for our daytime high. Even colder in Saskatoon, dangerously cold tomorrow morning, around -48 with that temperature near -40. And then by the afternoon, we haven't warmed up much, might get to around -30 for our daytime high. Now, 'tis the season. Here's a great holiday display from Swift Current. Jessica and Justin put this up. Took them 3.5 weeks to put this together, and Justin makes all the wooden pieces himself, Natasha. So something to warm you up in these very cold days.
That's great. Thank you so much for that, Ethan.
You bet.
Well, that's it for us tonight. We'll be back with regular news programming on January 2nd. Until then, we have special programming for you every weeknight. For news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/sask. Glenn Reed will be back with more local news at 11. Thanks for watching, and happy holidays.